really honored to have this chat and looking forward to hear more about Endeavor and the history of Endeavor and everything. I'm very honored to be in the venue. I'm very honored to be along our Endeavor entrepreneurs and the rest of the board. Thank you very much for attending. So Adrian, I just don't want to take a lot of time, so let's move on to hear more about your stories and what's happening and how did it all start. Let's start with how did it all start from the beginning. I know that you've been on board for the past 10 years, but you know it all, so let us know how did it go from the very beginning.
Well, thank you. First of all, thank you and thank everyone here. And before I get started, it's for me it's a real honor to be able to be here and in the company of all of you, especially Endeavor entrepreneurs, but being able to be here on stage with you. It's kind of like being on stage with I'm the groupie of all of you entrepreneurs. So for me, it's an honor to be with you, Ayman. Let's see, I mean, I can't take credit for what's gone on the last 25 years. I can barely take credit for everything that's gone on the last 9 years. But I have been on board for these 9 years. I can tell you that the idea started in Latin America, which is where you see all of our presidents 26 years ago, when Linda and Peter decided to start this community, this movement. But little did we know that it would end up in 42 countries 26 years later. No? It's truly inspirational to see 2,500 entrepreneurs from all these countries. We were discussing right now with Azap and with Amr, when we go into these meetings and these retreats with entrepreneurs, that we come in with entrepreneurs from all over the world, from Brazil and from Vietnam and from Egypt. And they go in with from different countries and different industries, and they are best friends after they leave a 3 or 4 day retreat because they share the same mindset and commonality. Back to the origins again. I can't tell you about the origins, but I can tell you about the origins of what I launched, which was Endeavor Spain, which was soon going to be 10 years. So we'll also be doing anniversary at some point. And the last 4.5 years as a president. For me, it's really been building up on everything that so many people have done. I'm really proud of all the employees that we have today at Endeavor, but I also get to meet so many of these great employees that were here 25, 20 years ago, and it's really been building on that. And I see where they are now, what they've done, and the passion that they have for Endeavor, and I truly understand why we are where we are today.
Yeah, Adrian, we were talking yesterday about what makes Endeavor special, and we were actually sharing ideas. We were talking what makes those entrepreneurs and board members and other actually Endeavor teams that engaged with such an organization. It's different. We've seen a lot of support organizations all over the world. As entrepreneurs, we've been introduced to many of them, and there is something different about Endeavor that has been always there. It makes you more engaged, more actually willing to give back. I can talk about that maybe, but what do you see different about Endeavor as well?
I mean, the reality is that it's truly a global network, and it's truly a global network of peers, no? And that's quite unique to the organization. And to that, you need to add that spirit of, we are selecting scale-ups, not startups, and the stage is very relevant in the sense that the challenges that they're facing are very similar, as I said, regardless industry or regardless country, no? So that is quite unique, quite special. And then there's an element of who is part of the community, no? The board members, the mentors, the VCs, everyone that is part of the community, all of you represented here, but it's truly unique. I always talk about curated serendipity in a way, no? In which things happen in a very serendipitous way within Endeavor, but it's only because that network has been curated. I mean, it's not any entrepreneur that becomes an Endeavor entrepreneur, it's only that top 1%. It's not every mentor that becomes every board member, no? So I think that is what makes the community so special is the people that form it.
Yeah, it has been always, like, we've been questioned a lot. Why are you supporting the organization? Is there something behind that we don't see? Is there anything from an entrepreneur's perspective? And actually, myself have been, I would say we've been lucky for the past 5 years being part of the network. The support we've got in expanding businesses in other countries that Endeavor have been empowering us in, starting from the legal actually incorporation of a company to the business development and so on. So we've touched that, and I think as you mentioned, it's all about what happened in a serendipity way. So in terms of values, what kind of values do you see within the Endeavor entrepreneurs that are common? What makes them actually move from a startup company to a scale-up that matches basically the Endeavor criteria?
It's interesting because there's definitely something, no? We were having a a board meeting a few weeks ago at the global board, and many of you know Martin Escovari from General Atlantic, and he described it like there's something in the smell. No, he couldn't really describe it. No, but there is something. There's something magnetic. There's something magical about entrepreneurs. I mean, there's all the data. There's all the parts. I mean, there's definitely the focus on the team building. There's focus on the idea and the execution of the idea. But there's also something else in the entrepreneurs. No, that you get to meet, and it's something that after my almost 10 years at Endeavor, you get to sense it. You actually meet an entrepreneur regardless of the industry, and you can kind of see that. It's something in the spirit, and it doesn't matter if it's a fintech or an F&B company. It's something there that you know is that dream bigger, that scale faster, that all of those things that we always say at Endeavor, that is really present there. No?
Yeah. So let's move to a bit of give a local sense about the Egyptian market. And Endeavor have been there in the very good times, and you've seen a lot of trends basically in the macroeconomic status. And as we mentioned in terms of numbers, Endeavor have invested in the past 6 years more than 12 companies. I would say 8 out of them came just in the past 2 years during whatever was happening there from the pandemic. And still the Endeavor believe in the Egyptian companies and the Egyptian ecosystem. What do you see in this country that basically makes Endeavor like the perfect fit for Endeavor entrepreneurs in Egypt?
I think that the data that's been showcased by both Amr, by Linda, and by Amr as well on the selection and the companies selected, that says it all. But I feel that what is more important is that Amr at one point was actually mentioning the amount of companies that have been invested by Endeavor Catalyst. And the fascinating thing is that this is a rules-based fund, so it's really a consequence of what Egypt is doing. No, we set up Endeavor, we kind of spark those seeds, and then we see how those companies are selected. And Linda was mentioning about the data of the amount of entrepreneurs, 13 out of 200. No, but the fascinating part is that they are the ones that are raising capital. They're the ones that are getting a lead investor, and that is that's what's being reflected. In the end, we are investing in the ecosystem that is there. So given that it's rules-based, it's actually all the merit is in Egypt. So it's very promising when us, looking at it in a very kind of objective way, we're seeing that there are more entrepreneurs that are being funded and more of participation from Endeavor Catalyst in these entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think the consistency is along the lines on what you're saying. The consistency within the Egyptian, I wouldn't say character, just to put it, the Egyptian entrepreneurs are pretty consistent, and they want to do like something for their network, their family, their country, and I believe that has always been a goal for the ecosystem. If you would say something within the whole macro status. And there are challenges for a lot of startups, whether for fundraising in the upcoming couple of years, in the region, worldwide as well. What would be the advice for those entrepreneurs? What would you tell them actually in the next just short period, which we're facing right now?
For me, I'm a paranoid optimist, and I always see the opportunity. I'm always seeing the glass not only half full, but extremely full. No, and I will tell you that I compare this moment of uncertainty. I know that we have some of our Turkish friends here, but there's always been times of uncertainty in all the markets, and I see some fascinating things that have happened in Turkey. I can see the same thing happening here. I can see the effect of some of the entrepreneurs, yourself and many others, second-time entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs. I see the multiplier effect that's already happening. So that is very inspiring. You're already mentoring the next generation, investing in the next generation. Yesterday we had a meeting with VCs. It's very empowering to see the VCs, the VC community, how knowledgeable, how involved, how deeply committed they are to the ecosystem. I think the ingredients are there. Uncertainty will be there. We would love stability. Obviously, everyone loves stability, but I do see opportunity.
Yeah. I would like to thank you very much, Adrian. We're very honored to have you here in this great anniversary, 15th anniversary, and we'd love to see you back again. Thank you very much, Adrian.
Sure, thank you.